I'm giving you an update on the Ohio councilman that made the suggestion of not responding to drug overdoses after hearing from the same person 3 times. Because these addicts, they actually overdose multiple times during the week. So it's not like they have one overdose and then they're good, maybe for the rest of the month. No, some of them have. I did a story where the cops responded to the same person 20 times. Okay, they had 20 overdoses. And hospitals are also saying that they see the same person sometimes every single day because they're overdosing every day. So that's a problem because, you keep seeing people like that. You're going to run out of money in the budget. You're going to run out of Narcan. You're going to run out of any type of money where you can't even do other things for the city because you're spending it all on these drug addicts. So I kind of see his point, and there's a lot of people blasting him. He's getting hate mail across the country from different people, but I think in due time, a lot of people are going to start agreeing with him. Ohio councilman sparks fury after asking if EMS can stop responding to overdoses. One question touched off a firestorm of outrage and turned an obscure Ohio City councilman into the target of anger. Is the city legally required to keep dispatching ambulances to rescue drug addicts who repeatedly overdose on opioids? Councilman Dan Pickard has been blasted as heartless and cruel, and Middletown, Ohio city officials said they have been getting hate mail from across the country ever since he proposed the question during a recent city council meeting. Frustrated by the fact that the city has already spent 10 times the $10,000 it had budgeted for an overdose medication, Narcan, and saying they need to think outside of the box. Pickard asked the council meeting last week whether there was a legal and ethical path that would allow us to legally choose to respond or not to dispatch. In an email to NBC News, Pickard on Friday admitted the people whose opinion he values the most, his constituents, are divided over his proposal. I would say the ones I have heard from are split 50-50, he wrote. Those who agree with him do not want others to know their position, he added. Yesterday I was in court. I heard from 15 attorneys, 11 deputy sheriffs, and 4 judges who went out of their way to support me, but cautioned against using their names publicly. Everyone is afraid they will be attacked like me. But Pickard also bristled at the suggestion he is a heartless bean counter. I am not putting money ahead of the well-being of people, he insisted. The problem is there is no money. City Manager Douglas Atkins wrote in a letter published on the city website that Pickard opened that there could be a system to be later considered that would divert overdosing addicts from jail and into community service and treatment. Pickard also made the point that people with cancer don't get free chemo from medics, nor do people having heart attacks get a free bypass in an EMS run. And Pickard suggests slapping a person whose overdoses with a summons to do community service and work off the costs of EMS runs and Narcan. John Smith obviously doesn't care much about his life, but he expending a lot of resources, and we can't afford it, Pickard told the local Journal News. That kind of talk outrage advocates for a humane treatment of drug addicts. Truth Farm, for instance, said it was appalled by Pickard's suggestion. It pains and infuriates us to see how easily you have turned human lives into dollar signs and an impact on your budget, the group wrote, noting that Pickard is not running for re-election. Truth Farm said that it doesn't erase your responsibility to the people you currently serve. To suggest that you withhold emergency medical response to overdose patients is manslaughter at its best and premeditated murder at worst. Oh my goodness. Oh man. It's just amazing how they'll fight tooth and nail for these addicts because they are cockazoids. I don't recall any of these people being outraged when crack addicts were being thrown into prison. See, this is why it's hard for many people to feel sorry for these heroin addicts. I, for one, I don't feel sorry for them. I really don't. Y'all can keep sugarcoating it and calling it a public health issue and trying to get everybody to be sympathetic towards these addicts. I'm sorry, it's just not there. Faced with such fury, Atkins took the unusual step of going online to explain that Pickard only made an inquiry and no change of policy was voted on. Councilman Pickard's comments went viral. Wow. And we've received hate mail, national news coverage, and overloaded voicemail and email inboxes, he wrote. But Atkins wrote, nothing has changed. We have not considered or adopted any change to our method of responding, to opiate overdose calls, he wrote. We respond and render aid every time. Middletown is a city of approximately 45,000 people, about 90 miles west of Columbus. It has seen a sharp spike in overdoses. So far, this year, Middletown paramedics and police officers have responded to nearly 600 overdoses, 54 of them fatal. The city's fire department confirmed. Last year, there were 532 overdoses and 74 of them resulted in death. Pickard said sooner or later, Middletown is going to face a fiscal reckoning. No, you know what the whole country is. The whole country is. Right now, these heroin addicts and these opioid addicts are like a money pit. It's like you're pouring tons of money into this plague, and there's absolutely no return on that money. So you are literally losing tons of money going out for these people. And remember, everybody in this country have a limited budget every year. They have like a set amount of money they can spend in their budget. If you are running out of money, that's a problem. And there are places, when I was reading a few articles online, they get their fiscal budget in July. And because of the drug plague that's going on, a lot of these states and cities across the country are running out of money by December. I mean, how long are you going to keep doing it? So if you don't want them to get help through the ambulance service, or if you want them to get help, then what's the other alternative? The other alternative would be to put them in jail. But y'all don't want to do that. And it's also written that it costs more money dealing with heroin addicts in jail than any other inmate because they require so much treatment. And even when you get them off, a lot of them are coming in there with all kinds of diseases like hepatitis C. Many of them got AIDS. Many of them have all type of infectious diseases now, hepatitis B, tuberculosis. So you're not only treating them for the drug addiction, you're treating them for any infections they got. And if it's a female and she's pregnant, you got to now treat her and then treat the baby when the baby is born. They said it costs the average prisoner to house in jail about $50,000 a year. Okay. They said it costs the average heroin addict $75,000 or more, depending on their condition. That's outrageous. And they have to treat all of these people while they're in prison. So, it's a fortune, even whether they're in jail or outside of the jail. It is costing the country a complete fortune and trying to accommodate all of these addicts. And they got to take that into consideration. It's going to be a problem everywhere, not just in Ohio. Whether my plan is implemented or not, the city will soon run out of money, he wrote to NBC News. No money for squads, no money for gas, no money for drugs, no money for paramedics, no money for anything, because it will all have been spent on OD cases. As I said before, I believe there's going to be a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon with this man soon enough. It just not enough time has passed yet. There's going to be a lot of people singing a whole different tune out here when they realize how much of their tax dollars are going towards these addicts. A lot of people don't appreciate that now. So I really believe, he's on to something, and I really believe in time you're going to hear people in other states making the same suggestion. Then all people in need of emergency care will suffer, and heart attacks will kill people, car accidents will kill people, and people will die of other injuries. Yeah, because they're draining all the money, and in time, how are you going to pay your cops and your EMTs and your fire? You're not going to be able to pay people. Pickard added that he's open to other ideas and added, our city does not own a money machine. So please, I think he's on to something. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. And personally, I don't want all my money going towards these junkies, my tax dollars. I want, money to go towards other things. You got to have money for education. You got to have money for running your schools. You got all types of things within the community that also requires money. And he's right. You're draining the resources on people that don't even want to get better. They're not trying to get better. They don't want treatment. They're just going to continue to OD over and over, and they don't care. They don't care about anybody but themselves. Please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And if you can donate to this channel, please do. Peace, family.